And with that said, I'd like to welcome our first presenter, holistic practitioner, teacher, and musician, Stephan Hein from United Kingdom. Mr. Hein is an expert in naturopathy, bodywork, coaching, and yoga, pioneering integrated well-being through creative consciousness, and is also influential in Houses of Parliament. He will be presenting about Nanda Yoga, healing through sound. Welcome, thank you.
Thank you so much, Monique, for this warm introduction. And a very nice Sunday morning to you all. Lovely to see you. And I thought it was Sunday morning, there would be nobody here. So it's really lovely to see you all here. And my topic will be, I want to speak to you today about music as medicine. Okay. And I don't know, oh, by the way, also a very warm welcome to the people in the audience who is on the Zoom link. So I think it's lovely to have this hybrid event here, community event. So I don't know if you agree with me, we had some lovely music events in the last couple of days, right? It was beautiful live music. And so I want to take this a little bit into conversation and presentation, how music can be used therapeutically and in a healing context with the research I've done in the last 2 years in London. So music as medicine, let me introduce this to you. So as Monique was saying, I am working in London, and I have been working for 40 years in setting up a project called the Medicine of Creative Consciousness, which is basically inspiring good health and well-being. And I'm bringing together different modalities from naturopathy to bodywork to subtle energy healing and music and art therapy. So, first of all, there's something personal I'd like to share with you about my personal inquiry. It has been quite a lifelong inquiry. I've always been very curious about life, how the phenomena of life shows up, how the experience of my life shows up on the screen of my consciousness, on the screen of my awareness. And I had a deep dive over a few decades, I would say, and I have seen some deep things. And so I've always been endeavored to build bridges between science, beauty, and spirituality. And although I'm not a university-trained scientist, I think my inquiry into life has been a very scientific one, and really to find explanation for my experience that I have in life. And created my professional pathway from those personal experiences. And there has always been a backdrop in my experience that is spiritual experience. So I have always experienced myself as being part of something bigger. There wasn't just me, my small me, but there was always a backdrop into something bigger. And this backdrop into a deeper experience of spirituality in my quest into spirituality has always brought me a lot of experience of beauty and also sometimes bliss. And I felt blessed, and I felt always graced with that a new pathways, unexpected, surprising pathways in life would open up. So that keeps on unfolding in a creative process, and I think that's where my work then has come into being, where I very much speak about and work with my clients who come into my clinic about the body, mind, soul integrity. And in modern medical language, they would perhaps talk about the gut-brain axis, okay, with the heart in between, and the connection of the 3 layers of physical, biological experience through the vagus nerve. There's a lot of research happening into this. And I feel that bringing coherence into these 3 layers, the body, the mind, and the soul, and connecting to spirit, this cohesion leads to an experience of unfolding infinite creative potential and possibility. And I think meditation is a great tool. In this case, music is a great tool to connect to this alignment of the forces that are present in consciousness of every human being. And I find then the key to this work that I want to introduce to you is work with consciousness, human consciousness. And there's a lot of discussion. I think 21st century medicine will be very much about, we talked what is beyond biology. Madan especially, I remember who was talking, Madan Tengevilu yesterday, what is beyond biology? It is consciousness, and it's hard to define what is consciousness, and the evidence is even harder to get in for this. And the other layer is let me just go into this, no one before. The other layer that then is energy and life force. So how is energy, life force moving to manifest on every layer of my physical and emotional and mental and spiritual experience? So every patient who comes into my clinic, I have a salutogenetic approach in distinction to pathopathology, which is very much the focus of conventional medicine. I focus not on the problem, I focus on the potential of solutions. And this is how my conversation with our clients shapes up. We don't focus so much on the challenges that the illness or disbalance brings, we focus on the solutions. And this is a very creative conversation, and this is very much related to the physical and the emotional, the mental and the spiritual, the intellectual and the vocational experience of the person, and very important, of course, the social and the environmental dimensions, which I think is also medical science now. WHO is talking very much about those factors as well. Epigenetics is an unfolding topic that is speaking very much about how our DNA is shaped by the experiences in our environment. So this gives me a big scope of what I speak about in my conversations in a therapeutic context. I want to give you a quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, which I love very much, and it says, "And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music." And I totally love this, and it really puts in a nutshell for me, I think, the struggles and that are the discord that is between normal science and, let's call it, revolutionary science, okay? The reductionist model of science that is our culture, and the revolutionary science, things like quantum physics, that we live in a holographic universe, etc., the revolution that is happening there and the understanding of physics that puts this understanding of science in alignment with experience of consciousness and how that consciousness has been understood for millennia from the yogic perspective, the Siddha, and the Ayurvedic perspective, which I'm going to go into with my presentation. So this is a poster I designed for my presentation here, and the study that I want to introduce to you examines the health benefits of music using sounds of traditional Indian mantras. There's a few distinctions here of the history of sound in yoga, and I'm going to speak mainly about Nada Yoga. So Nada Yoga speaks about sound vibration and the flow of consciousness through sound. And then we have an expansion from this of pure sound vibration and frequencies of sound into an experience of devotion and spiritual experience, which is called Bhakti Yoga. So in Bhakti Yoga, when I chant mantras and I repeat those mantras, what actually happens is that I open myself to a state of deep relaxation. There's a change of brainwave pattern, and what happens, so neuroscience explains this quite well now, and what actually happens then is that there opens something up which can be described as a space of letting go, of devotion, of love. Love to myself, love to all forms of life, love to my experience of whatever shows up on the screen of my awareness. And that is, of course, can be a very sacred and blissful experience. And Vak as the third pillar, which is not so well known, but in the Tantric Yoga approach, this is very, very important, which states that the world reality comes into being through sound vibration. And that is a very, very powerful statement, because it gives us the possibility, when we chant mantras with intention and a certain focus, that we can heal disbalances and certain situations in our lives that make us suffer, or that give us challenges or problems. And that's where, for this practice, for this study, it was very important. We have this aspect of vak, that we can intentionally co-create reality. And again, through the help of, I mentioned the Vedic goddess of Saraswati here, who is the goddess of creation. It's an archetype of creation that we have all in us, which is a force that allows us to co-create our reality. So Sri Amritananda from Sri Vidya tradition in southern India said that everything in the universe vibrates on specific wavelengths, and we can change. Sound also vibrates on specific wavelengths. So, and that those frequencies carry energy, vital life force. So sound, because it vibrates, carries energy. And then we change the sound vibrations, that changes the energy. Okay, this is sort of the physics explanation for this. This is how we can change our state of being. Okay, and also with it then our biology. So the science is in. Sound is exploding at the moment, the sound research, and we know for this context that singing and sounding and chanting can lift us on the physical and the emotional and the mental and the spiritual layers of our experience. And there's some very interesting research I'd like to point you towards, published by the National Center for Complementary Integrative Health in the US, that is wonderful information about, that music has a positive impact on our physical and psychological and emotional movements, and that music-based interventions may be helpful for anxiety, depressive symptoms, pain conditions, dementia, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, and other conditions. So this is what is being researched now, and I think this is very exciting. So when we look at music and sound as medicine, it is more and more, there's more and more evidence now that it shifts biochemistry and neurology in the body. It affects our physiology, our emotions, our mental experience, and our spirituality, and is translated into the biology of the body through the electromagnetic fields that surround the body, that weave through the body. And I have a map of the subtle bodies here with the 7 energy centers, the chakras, which are well known. And of course, we have in Ayurvedic tradition, yoga tradition, we speak about 72,000 nadis and subtle 72,000 nadis, subtle energy pathways, which can be influenced by doing these sound vibrations. And I have in detail here the 4 layers of physiology, emotional, mental, and spiritual connection, where change and transformation and transcendence of experience can happen. There's no time to go into the bullet points, but just for our purpose here, what is important, that it slows down brainwave activity. That means it leads to a state of relaxation, activating vagal tone, the vagus nerve, which is the big relaxation nerve for the whole metabolism, and the brain and the heart in the body is being syncing together, synchronizing together into balance, into harmony, which gives a deeply, emotionally and mentally, spiritually, deeply relaxing experience to ourselves, creating states of stillness and silence. And the research, what different frequencies measured in hertz can do to our brain health and the biology and the mental state, is really quite tremendous. We all know that in the emotional release, when we listen to a piece of music that touches us, we are moved to tears, or we are moved to laughter, just with a snip of a finger, right? We all have this experience. So what my inquiry is with this study, what is it about sound and music that breaks through all the barriers, all the layers of protection that I have built over the course of a lifetime, and it just melts them away, yeah, into a state of bliss or well-being? And how can we utilize that for healing? The spiritual connection is very good. Oh my God, is this the end of the time already? That's so quick. Sanskrit effect, Madan was talking about this yesterday. Thank you so much, Madan. Mantra means to transport the mind, to guide, to advise oneself. And it creates balance in body, mind, and soul. The meaning of sound is to enter into a state of silence. And we all know, Rumi said, the quieter we become, the more we are able to hear. We know this one very well, okay? So the study, I conclude with a few words. This was done for 6 months with 60 patients in a London-based HIV/AIDS charity that looks after the long-term management of people struggling with the condition and how to support their sense of self-empowerment and resilience to symptoms that showed up. And I used mantras from the Vedic, Ayurvedic, Tantric, Srividya, and Buddhist tradition. And these were 90-minute sessions that gave a feeling of embodiment through mindfulness, then chanting of mantras, and then integration through sharing in the last 20 minutes of the session. And this is the outcome. It is a quality assessment. It was not a quantitative evidence-based assessment. I want to stress that. And you can just see there's all this positive feedback, you know, hopeful, restful. People felt empowered, energized. They slept better, they felt happy and restorative. And there's the company of others that was good. My migraine disappeared. I couldn't believe it. It has given me helpful reminders about how to relax and deal with worries. So the feedback, 90%, was a very positive one. And I conclude with this saying from Rumi, you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hein, for such a profound and beautiful presentation. I really like the quote, and those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who couldn't hear the music.